Hello and welcome back. And today I just want to do a short recording about when people don't understand your spiritual path or understand you. And it's just something I've been reflecting on again recently. And it's what happens when you start sharing more of your authentic self to do with your spiritual path. Obviously, to me anyway, we are a spiritual being having a human experience. And there's a physical body, there's a spiritual aspect to that, and there is also a personality, a character. So there's three quite separate parts that we all have, but some people are still very unaware of their spiritual self, their soul, if you not like. They're not very connected to it. And it's come up again for me in a situation where I've just been really surprised by somebody's reaction to something that I've been doing. And it's somebody I've known in the past, in my old career, if you like. And it was just a real wow, again. So for a lot of us, and probably if you're listening to this, you've probably always been very awake and aware of those three parts of you. And it's probably something, the spiritual side of things is probably something that you've explored quietly for many years or many months with meditation, creativity, connecting to nature, or other spiritual practices, reading, self-development. All those things kind of come under that kind of umbrella. But then there comes a moment when you've really learnt enough and it feels like it's time to share, which is the point that I've got to now. And you might feel like sharing online like I'm doing. You might feel like sharing through groups or just in conversation with people that you know and your family and friends. And there might be a time, like there has been recently for me, where suddenly you realise that somebody thinks you're completely bonkers and not everybody understands it. And it is something that I have been kind of used to, and I have been used to people in the past kind of joking about it, making fun of it, and just kind of looking at me like I'm completely mad. And it does feel a bit uncomfortable, but I've always felt like it's okay, they just don't understand. But just sometimes it can really kind of knock you off balance a little bit in certain situations. And it's just that these people might just not quite get what you're doing, or just feel a bit challenged by what you're saying. And sometimes that destabilization can just make you question yourself and just think, am I looking like an alien in this conversation right now? Do they just think I'm a bit strange again? But what I've come to realize is that most of the time it's the reaction that people have is it shows more about them really, and their kind of having their boundaries, their kind of worldview just shook a little bit, just wobbled, and then they can kind of like go, oh, that feels a bit uncomfortable, so we'll want to make it feel right for them. So it's not really about the work itself, it's just about their unfamiliarity with what you're saying or what you're doing. But I do find that some things that are said do hit on a deeper level, even if it's not obvious in that moment. And with the hitting on the inside at a deeper level, it can be sometimes a way of helping someone to just reconnect with themselves, even if you don't see evidence of that in the moment. And it could maybe be that seed that's planted that they then go away and just maybe make some more time for themselves, make a bit more meaning in their lives, maybe just question things a little bit differently from what they've always done, from the normal way of operating. So when I talk about the work I do now, especially with people that are really not in this kind of arena, I try to frame it in a really grounded way. And this particular comment that I had was about one of the circles that I held, and somebody saw some photos of that and thought it was a cult, which I just found hilarious. But I now can say things like it's about just creating a space where people can really just slow down, to pause, to reflect, and just to reconnect with themselves. And we might do meditation, we might do something creative, and we might just have conversation and just support each other. So it just takes anything mysterious or exclusive or weird or voodoo or cultish or bonkers out of the equation, and just talks about its, being a way of helping people to feel more centered and more like themselves, which is what the intention is behind it. So if you're someone who's also experiencing this and you're feeling drawn to start to share, because I think a lot of us are now, but you're worried about what people might think, just remember that every meaningful path looks unusual to someone else who is not walking that path at that moment. But the more of us that start walking that path, it widens the path and more people find it easier to just step onto that path. And, you have to follow your calling. It's really difficult to not, as I've found out through many years of trying to not do that. It becomes more uncomfortable until you just go, okay, I'm going to do that. And when you do, it can genuinely help you feel calmer and clearer and more connected. And so it's totally worth honouring that. So I just want to close with, for anybody else that experiences a similar thing, or if you have in the past, or if you are going through that right now, that not everyone's going to understand your path, and that might be really people that are quite close to you, and that is okay. But the important thing here is that it feels true for you, and that's the only thing that matters, because you are the most important person in your universe. So sending so much love, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for listening.